AITA for semi, causing my roommate's allergic reaction. I, 20F, am a college student living in off-campus housing with 2 other girls. One of my roommates, Jen, 21F, has been extremely difficult for me to live with. She was friends with my other roommate, Leah, 21F, and we ended up living together. Among other issues, Jen eats mine and Leah's food constantly. At the start of the lease back in August, it was little bits of food here and there, but now it's lots of food and it's happening a lot. She constantly drinks my almond milk and routinely leaves the carton empty in the fridge. She has a history of depression, and despite having wealthy parents and multiple of their credit cards, I think she's too depressed to go grocery shopping, so instead she's buying food for lunch when she's on campus for classes and eating mine and my other roommate's food to supplement. I'm extremely frustrated. I have confronted her about this 3 times now, and last week I caught her in the act and immediately called her out on it. She broke down crying and said it would never happen again. I tried to level with her and told her to get Instacart, and even offered to give her a ride to the store, despite her also having her own car. The next day she ate one of my yogurt cups and a $5 cupcake from an expensive bakery in my city that my sister got me for my birthday. Jen has a soy allergy. She let us know about it when we moved in together, and said she had no problem with us having soy products in the apartment as long as we properly seal the containers after using them. We've had soy sauce in the fridge all semester and leftover edamame a few times, no big deal. When I went to the grocery store on Tuesday, I decided to buy soy milk instead of the usual almond I bought all year. Mostly because I wanted a change, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't also because I wanted her to stop drinking my fucking milk. The soy milk I bought is from the same brand as the almond milk I usually buy, because it's cheap and I like all the products I've tried from this brand. Needless to say, the packaging looks similar. Yesterday, when I get out of one of my classes, I have 5 missed calls from Jen. Turns out Jen grabbed my milk as usual and did not look at the packaging, which is insane because she literally opened the soy milk for the first time and had to break the seal, and drank some of it. She ends up having a reaction, using an EPI pen and going to the hospital just in case. She's okay, but she is very mad at me, said this is my fault, and is threatening to call student legal. I told her she's full of shit and she has no case against me, and it's her fault for eating food that isn't hers and being too stupid to read labels, despite having an allergy. The tension in my apartment is now at an all-time high and I'm extremely stressed. Am I the asshole? Edit, calling student legal tomorrow. Going to try and move out. And no, I will not be dosing her food with soy, that's psycho. Thanks all. AITA for asking future MIL not to tell my toddler they make her sad. My 28F oldest son is 3 years old. My fiance's 32M mom came over a few weeks ago and when leaving, asked my 3 years old for a hug. He initially said no and walked away. Came back unprompted and hugged her. She said, oh good BC, I was going to be sad. My fiance's aunts and best friends edits, I sent her this. Summed up, we're teaching 3 years old that he's in control of his own body and self-defined boundaries regardless of how it makes someone feel. If he's trying to make someone upset on purpose, that's a different story. We don't want him to go against his boundaries to make someone feel better. I'm sure you just want to show he's important to you, but we'd appreciate it if you could show it in a different way. FMIL, OP, I'd appreciate you not sending me these kinds of messages and we have these conversations in person. Thank you. OP, I don't really see a difference to be honest. I would have said the same things in person. I didn't see this topic as one that needs to be discussed too much. If you have a response, I'm obviously open to hearing it, but it won't change the fact that saying things that could make my kids feel guilty and responsible for others' feelings will be accepted. Again, you can show that you care for the boys, but not in ways that make them feel bad. FMIL, BC, having adult conversation via text I believe are pretty cowardice. When you address me or any other adult via text, it's not really appropriate, so I will end this conversation with if you can't talk things over with me instead of telling me what not to do, then that in itself is a problem. So I'm done. OP, again, I would say the same words to you in person, nothing cowardice about the method I choose to say these words. The reason I didn't see it made sense to do it in person is BC, I'm essentially asking you a favor and it's your choice to acknowledge it or not. I wasn't looking for a debate about it, just asking that you please not make certain comments to my babies. I'm alright if she'd prefer me to discuss something like this in person, but why ignore my initial message? Seems like blame shifting / diverting to me. She then went to my fiancé and texted him, so by now I'm sure OP told you she was messaging me. If you guys have something you need to say to me, just say it. They had a 30-minute phone call and my fiancé told me she said, she's already distanced herself from coming over and she'll distance herself more if she has to. It's not something she was doing intentionally. I never said it was intentional, just bringing her attention to this and potential repercussions. Chose to message her BC, I'm horrible at having deep / stressful convos in person. I have ADHD so can't process what I want to say and what other person is said and formulate responses, etc. Also this is a boundary, so not RLY up for discussion or debate. Either she chooses to stop or doesn't. Am I the asshole for asking this or how I brought it up? AITA for refusing to change my daughter's clothes at a birthday party. I, 34F, have 2 kids, 8M and 4F. My daughter's name is Aurora. My husband, 36M, and I chose that name because it was slightly similar to my late FIL's, and worked well with our last names. It had nothing to do with the princess from Sleeping Beauty. In spite of that, we've had fun with that movie in the past, and ever since my daughter realized that she shared names with a Disney character, Princess Aurora has been her favorite. Our family went to Disney World in July, and while there, we bought my daughter a Princess Aurora costume. She adores it, and wears it whenever she has the chance. 2 weeks ago, one of Aurora's friends from school threw a princess-themed birthday party. She encouraged her friends to wear costumes. My daughter wanted to go as her favorite character, which didn't surprise me at all. When we got to the party, the birthday girl came to greet my daughter, and she was also dressed as Princess Aurora. I didn't know what her costume was going to be prior to the party. I got worried for a second, but the birthday girl was actually really excited. She said that they looked like twins. It was adorable. They ran off to play, and I forgot about the costumes for a while. About 30 minutes into the party, I was at a table with some of the other moms when the birthday girl's mother came up to me. She asked if I had brought any spare clothes for Aurora. I said yes, I always bring an extra shirt and shorts for her. She then asked me to change my daughter into the spare clothes and out of her costume. The mother explained that she'd hired a photographer to walk around taking pictures of the kids, and was also planning on getting a group photo near the end of the party. She didn't want anyone wearing the same costume as her daughter in these pictures. She also thought her daughter might get jealous, since my kid gets to share her name with their favorite princess. Now, if the birthday girl was the one who had a problem, I might have considered changing Aurora into her spare clothes. But no, she was genuinely excited they were dressed the same. It also didn't feel fair to force my daughter to be the only one without a costume in a party full of children in princess dresses. I said no, and explained my reasoning to the girl's mom. She insisted for a few minutes, but I held my ground. Some of the other moms started to back me up, and she eventually got up and left. When I went to pick up my kids earlier this week, I ran into her friend's mom. She accused me of ruining her daughter's party by allowing Aurora to wear the same costume as her. She told me she doesn't think she'll ever be able to look at the pictures without being disgusted by my behavior. I thought she was exaggerating, but I'm starting to doubt myself. Our conflict has found its way to the mom group chat we're both in, and opinions over there are divided. Some think having two girls wear the same costume is no big deal, others think I should have changed my daughter's clothes. Am I the asshole? AITA for telling my sister that people are allowed to look annoyed by her toddler and baby on a plane, and that it's entitled to say they should feel sorry for her because it's even worse for me because she made the choice to take them on the plane. Note, I'm well aware fathers are equally responsible for their children, and her husband was with her on the flights, but he wasn't present for the conversation, and it was only with my sister, so focuses on her. My sister, Chelsea, has 2 children, 22 months and 6 months, and last month her and her husband decided to go on a holiday to Europe before they'd have to buy a seat for the kids. She said the kids were terrible flyers and basically cried the whole way on both trips. We are from Australia, and wouldn't settle. She has made a lot of passive-aggressive posts on social media about how entitled non-parents are about kids on planes, and how people need to have more sympathy for mums, because they are suffering more than they are, because their babies won't settle, and being a parent is hard. She's been kinda whiny in general since she became a mum, always complaining about hard it is, and she makes a lot of snide comments to me about how it must be nice that I sleep in, etc., because I've chosen not to have kids. The plane situation came up when I saw her last night. She started talking about it again, and I asked her if something specific happened or if someone was rude to her about the kids, and she admitted that they weren't really. People just looked visibly annoyed as the kids refused to settle, and on one of the flights, the person next to her asked the flight attendant if there was anywhere else she could sit after a couple of hours and looked really disappointed when told there wasn't as the flight was full. She also said they were rude because none of them offered to help her or give her reassuring smiles and comments. I said that people have the right to be annoyed at a baby crying the whole way from Melbourne to Singapore on a flight that leaves at 1 a.m. in the morning and lands at like 9 a.m., and she went off saying that they don't and her kids have a right to fly. I told her I never said they didn't, just that people have the right to not be thrilled to be seated next to her infant who cries the whole way, and that they don't have to feel more sorry for her than themselves because she is responsible for bringing the kids onto the plane and created the situation. I also said that no one but her and her husband are obligated to look after their children on a flight, and it isn't fair to expect the people around her to help with them. She stormed out and complained to my parents, who backed my up, but our other sister started dogpiling me too, so I just went home. Am I the asshole?